Hi there, welcome to another edition of Yoga with Anne. Today we're going to do a mini yoga practice. I've been thinking a lot lately. About 5-ish months ago, I started a new job where I'm working full-time, going into the office 3 days a week. A lot less flexible than my last job, but I'm loving it. I'm loving my coworkers. I'm learning so much. It's been a really great experience. But I also noticed that it's affecting my body, right? My hamstrings, my back, my shoulders, my neck, all kinds of stuff. And I recently had a massage, and my massage therapist noticed things tighter than normal. And normal, things are already tight, right? Our sitting culture really affects our bodies. And so I was thinking about what poses I should practice regularly. And I wanted to share that with you. So I came up with 3 poses. And you might decide to do 2 of them and do a different one on your own. Maybe there's something else that your body really needs. But for sure, this can benefit anybody. So I was thinking about the parts of my body that are definitely affected by me sitting more, 40 hours a week, all of that. So we're going to do a heart opener. We're going to do Supta Padangusthasana, reclined hand to big toe pose, and a downward facing dog. And you can do variations of all of these. You can use yoga props. You can use things that are not yoga props. So it'll be pretty simple. And I also found that we can adjust what the time is, right? I found that I really love doing yoga every day, but it doesn't happen because I don't have time, because I'm tired, because other things take priority. So this is something that you could do. You could do these 3 poses in 5 minutes, right? You could do them 10, 15, you could really decide. So you could follow along with the video, or you can do it on your own. So I decided to try it on my own, kind of see how long I was in a pose. So for the heart opener, you could set a timer, which I think would be most ideal. And then the other poses, you can actually kind of decide how many breaths you're gonna do in that pose and go to that amount. You could also set a timer for those as well. So, I'm calculating by my breaths, so I'm guessing that we're gonna be in the heart opener for about 3 minutes. Each side of Supta Padangusthasana for about a minute, so 2 minutes total. And then downward facing dog for probably not even a minute. So you could do this practice for, let's see, 3 to 6 minutes. You could do it shorter, you could do it longer, you really decide. We'll start with a little quiet and we'll end with a little quiet. So it'll be a little bit longer, but that's it. It's pretty simple and I think it's really beneficial. Props that you'll need today. If you have a yoga strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a necktie, the belt from a bathrobe, a scarf. You can use your own hands as well. And then a yoga blanket. If you don't have a yoga blanket, a bath towel or beach towel will work. We want something that folds and rolls easily and nicely. So no bulky blanket, that won't really work for you. So that's all that you need today. So if you don't have something that works as a strap, at least have some sort of towel that you can use and we can work around it. So let's get started. Let's start, just take a moment wherever you are. You might be seated. I'm sitting on a block. And this position is not comfortable for everybody. It's comfortable for me. So if you'd prefer not to sit and you want to lie down in constructive rest where your knees are bent and your feet are on your mat, go ahead and do that. We'll just be here for just a very, very brief time, a few moments, just to kind of get centered, to feel our breath, and to begin our practice. So you're welcome to close your eyes. You can soften your gaze or keep your eyes wide open if that's more comfortable for you. And just notice your breath, your inhales and your exhales. Not changing anything, just noticing. The next time you inhale, really bring attention back to your breath. Perhaps you take in a deeper inhale and maybe a full-on exhale. Let's do that 2 more times if that's okay. A little deeper inhale. Sigh out your exhale. Your eyes are closed, begin to open them. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to come off of my block, move that out of the way, and I'm going to use my yoga blanket. So remember, you can use a bath towel. So I know whatever you're using is going to be probably a little different size than mine. So you want to get this general opening of your blanket or towel. And then I'm going to set it down and I'm going to make a roll. So I'm going with the longer end, and the roll won't be as big. You could go the shorter end and make the roll, but the roll is going to be a lot thicker. So for some of you, a pretty thin roll is going to be ideal. And then you have a little padding for your head. So I'm not sure, I taught yoga earlier today and we did a heart opener. So sometimes this is too high for me and I need to be a little lower. So sometimes you have to check in, you have to come into the pose and decide where you need to be. So with the heart opener, lower tips of your shoulder blades are what gonna rest right on the roll. So if you know where bra strap goes, that's where you wanna rest. If you don't know, just think about it like right coming out from under your armpits. When you lie down, you want your arms to come easily above the roll. So I'm gonna come basically into constructive rest with my knees bent, my feet on my mat. And you might have to adjust a little bit, right? Maybe it doesn't quite feel right. You can kind of have your hands behind your head. If you find that coming back, that's how it feels for me today, is too much, like this is too much for your head, your neck, then you're welcome to put something under your head. It could be a pillow, if you have a yoga block, another folded towel or blanket right under your head. So your arms should come easily above the roll. They don't have to stay there. So I usually like to put my arms right on the roll and my hands on my chest. So that's entirely up to you. It is intense, right? Because we're opening this part of our bodies and normally our arms are coming more forward and we're hunched, right? But this is a back bend, a heart opener. So it might be a little intense. You might feel a little vulnerable, right? Because your heart is open. You could place your hands on your chest. You could put a pillow, a blanket, something over you. You could have a cozy blanket. It could be a bulky blanket. That's totally fine. I'm going to keep my knees bent. You could extend your legs, make sure it feels okay for your low back. And adjust if you need to. Come out earlier if you need to. bring your attention back to your breath. Maybe it's a fuller, deeper inhale, a sigh, a release on the exhale. If you've extended your legs out long, bend your knees and bring your feet back to your mat. And the best way to come out of this is to roll over to your side. I know you might be tempted to sit up, but all of this beautiful goodness, rest, restoration, all of that peace in your body, in your head, in your mind, in your heart. We want to keep that as long as we can. So if you can, roll over to one side. It might be a little awkward. And we want to bring our head up last. So as you roll over, see if you can press your hand, allow your head to kind of hang. And come back up. And hopefully your face looks like mine. This is one of my favorite poses for myself, because most of, everything we do in our natural life is forward, right? Driving, looking at our phones, on the computers, reading a book, cooking, all of that. And nothing that we do naturally helps to open up. So it's really important that we do that to come into a back bend, to come into extension. And I find that this pose gives you whatever you need in that moment. So if you're tired, it can give you energy. If you need to calm down, it can help with that. I even, because of my posture, I have kyphosis, so I have a curvature of the upper spine, but I have a lot of back issues. And so when I'm doing a lot of bending, like cleaning, laundry, and all that, I don't remember to bend the correct way, right? So after a while, my back really hurts. And sometimes I'll just come down on the floor and put myself in this pose for 3-5 minutes. Typically I do it for 5 minutes. I set the timer, which you can do. And then I come into the pose and it feels so much better. My back feels better. I'm a little refreshed. It's awesome. All right, so we're gonna come back down onto our mat. If you'd like, I like to use something under my head as a pillow. So a lot of us who are tight, when we lie down, we're not super comfortable. So it's nice to have support under your head. I'm also gonna grab my yoga strap and I'm gonna grab a sip of water. Water is always important, but it's getting much warmer. I'm in Arizona, so it's getting quite toasty. So drinking lots of water is important every day, right? So if you don't have a yoga strap, you can use something else, or you'll just use your own hands, which I will show you how to do. I'm gonna come to lie down, constructive rest, knees bent, feet on your mat. And this gives us an opportunity to check in and notice how our back feels. So I know typically how my body feels when I lie down on the mat before I've done any movement. And I can tell that my shoulders are wider and more connected with the mat. Typically I have a pretty big arch, and I still do, but more of my low back is connecting with the mat after doing that pose. So it's pretty amazing. All right, let's have our right knee into our chest. So if you have something that's gonna work as a strap, you'll unravel that, get it ready, hug your knee in, and then put that over your foot. So if you don't have a strap, you're just gonna put your hands behind your thigh, and then you're gonna reach your leg up. So wherever we are, whatever we're using, reaching on up. So hands can be right here. Hands can be close up on the strap, lower down. We wanna have our leg fairly straight. So, if you're here, you're not gonna get as much benefit. So it's better to be here. We wanna feel some stretch here. So you have to find the best spot. You also, I could be here, but oh my, this is really intense and way too much. So I have to find that right spot where I am pretty long in my leg. We don't have to be super straight, but we want to be pretty straight. So like I said, bending a lot, then I'm not stretching the hamstrings. So find that place for you, holding onto your strap wherever works for you. And make sure that the foot's you're not pressing the ball of the foot or the heel more. Imagine that your foot could press into the ceiling with all four corners touching at the same time, like as if you're standing on it. And then we're going to focus on our breath. Bend your knee, hugging back in, releasing your strap, and set your foot back down on the mat. Take a moment to notice the two sides, and hug your left knee in. Take your strap around your foot. If you don't have a strap, just put it up the back of your thigh, and then start to reach and extend. So the majority of us are gonna find that this side is much tighter. Not everybody. So I have to move my leg a little farther away. It's still really intense. So we wanna have sensation that we feel something, right? But as I mentioned, I can be here, but oh, I don't know if I could hold it for as long as I want to. So find the right spot for you. So you wanna get be near your edge, but not so close or over that you can't breathe. So, checking with your breath and noticing what's happening there is a great indicator to know if you're in a good spot. Spreading your toes, pressing all four corners. And for me, this is a really great hamstring stretch, but basically it's good for everything from your belly button down to your toes. So it might be your hips, your shins, your calves, your hamstrings, your quads, ankles, core, or all of the above. Bend your knee, hugging it back in, release the strap. And then set your foot back down on the mat. Just taking a moment here to notice your body, notice your breath. Let's roll over to one side. Press your hands into the mat. See if you can lift your head up last. Coming back up. All right. One more pose, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. If that's a pose you don't do, you're welcome to do something else. You could just come onto all fours in a tabletop and maybe do some cat-cow if you're familiar with that. You could come into a puppy pose where your hands come a little farther forward, you shift your hips back, and you come in this position. If there's something else you want to do in child's pose, if you know that, then you're welcome to do that. So we start in a tabletop with our knees below our hips and our wrists basically below our shoulders. And then let's step our hand, one hand print forward. Spread your fingers nice and wide, curl your toes under. You're gonna lift your knees up and you're gonna press your butt, hip and thighs away. So I'm bringing my body into a nice long inverted V. Might be a good idea to adjust your feet, keep your knees bent. So sometimes when people do this pose, it looks like this. So I can be here, bend my knees, and help to shift my hips, butt, and thighs back. I'm pressing them away from my hands. And that makes my back longer. My chest is open. My ears are between my upper arms. So I'm basically, I had my head a little high, I just noticed. So I'm looking at my toes, but not my knees, and I'm not looking at the middle of my mat. So that gets my head and neck in a pretty good safe position. And then I breathe. Let's bring our knees back down to the mat. I don't count the time that I'm talking, so I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure that was at least 10 rounds of my breath. And I was going to do 10 rounds of breath silent, and I was like, I can't stay in this that long. So if you can stay longer, awesome. But there was no way I was going to be able to hold that with integrity, right? Form and alignment, all of those are important, but it's also important to honor and listen to your body at all times. So let's just take a couple of moments to be quiet. You could lie down, you could be seated, however you like. So we'll just come back to how we were at the beginning of class, noticing our breath, noticing our body, and feeling the residue of our practice, the sensations. And maybe you don't notice anything. Maybe nothing feels like it's shifted or changed. That's okay. Regardless, something has changed. Bring your attention back to your breath. It would feel good, fuller, deeper inhale. And a release of your exhale. You can keep your eyes closed or open, whatever you prefer. We'll bring our hands together at heart center in what's called Anjali Mudra to seal our practice together. Pressing your left hand into your right and your right hand into your left, sitting nice and tall. Keep peace in your mind, keep strength in your body, and keep love in your heart. From my heart to yours, I bow to you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I appreciate you and you taking time for yourself. If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to comment below, or all of my information, my contact information is below, email and social media. So I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope to practice with you again soon.